If you tell me that even the most nutritious food can fail to benefit your body, and in some cases may even contribute to harm if your gut is not functioning properly, would you believe it? It sounds dramatic, but this is the biological reality. As a nutrition professional, I can confidently say that many chronic symptoms people struggle with today, persistent fatigue, joint pain, skin conditions, brain fog, depression, even depression, often have a strong connection to what is happening inside the gut. The real decision maker between nourishment and inflammation is not just the food on your plate, but the condition of your digestive system and microbiome. Digestion begins in the mouth, but the real complexity unfolds as food moves into the stomach and intestines. In the stomach, hydrochloric acid not only breaks down proteins, but also acts as a protective barrier against pathogens. When acid levels are suboptimal, which is more common than people realize due to chronic stress, aging, or long-term antacid use, protein digestion becomes incomplete and microbial balance can be disrupted. As food enters the small intestine, pancreatic enzymes and bile continue the breakdown process. Nutrients are absorbed through a single-cell thick intestinal lining into the bloodstream. This lining is incredibly delicate and highly regulated. Between these cells are structures called tight junctions, which determine what is allowed into circulation. When functioning optimally, they permit vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and glucose to pass through while blocking toxins and harmful bacterial fragments. Now let's talk about the gut microbiome. The Human Microbiome Project revealed that trillions of microorganisms reside primarily in our large intestine. These microbes are not passive passengers, they function almost like an endocrine and immune organ. They ferment dietary fibers to produce short-chain fatty acids such as butyrate, acetate, and propionate. Butyrate in particular serves as the primary fuel source for colon cells and plays a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of the gut lining. When fiber intake is low or microbiome diversity is compromised, butyrate production decreases and the gut barrier may be weakened. When that barrier becomes compromised, a phenomenon often described as increased intestinal permeability can occur. Undigested food particles and bacterial components, such as lipopolysaccharides, may pass into the bloodstream, triggering immune activation and systemic inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now strongly associated in research with metabolic disorders, autoimmune conditions, mood disorders, and even neurodegenerative diseases. Let me give you a practical example. A 35-year-old professional working long hours under chronic stress, frequently consuming processed food and refined sugar, begins experiencing joint stiffness, fatigue, and skin flare-ups. Standard lab tests show little. However, dietary assessment reveals extremely low fiber intake, high refined carbohydrate consumption, poor sleep, and frequent late-night eating. In such cases, the issue is not a lack of nutrients, it is a dysfunctional digestive ecosystem. Another example is someone who suddenly switches to a high-fiber, clean diet after years of processed eating. Instead of feeling better, they experience severe bloating and discomfort. Why? Because their microbiome has not adapted to ferment fiber efficiently. Gut restoration requires gradual adaptation, not extreme swings. In clinical nutrition, we often follow a structured approach. First, remove inflammatory triggers, ultra-processed foods, excessive sugar, trans fats, and in some cases, specific food intolerances. Second, support digestion by ensuring adequate protein intake and, when appropriate, enzyme support. Third, reintroduce beneficial bacteria through fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, or carefully selected probiotic strains. Fourth, repair the gut lining with sufficient protein, omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, and, in certain contexts, glutamine under supervision. Protein is particularly important because the gut lining renews itself approximately 3 to 5 days. Without adequate amino acids, tissue repair slows down. Whole eggs, fish, legumes, and quality meats provide the building blocks required for this regeneration. At the same time, healthy fats are essential for hormone production, cell membrane integrity, and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. However, combining high refined carbohydrates with high saturated fat in excess can create metabolic stress, elevate insulin levels, and promote inflammation. Balance is key. Another frequently overlooked factor is meal timing. The digestive system has a mechanism known as the migrating motor complex, a cleaning wave that sweeps residual food and bacteria through the small intestine between meals. Constant snacking interrupts this process. Allowing structured gaps between meals can support natural digestive cleansing. Hydration is important, but excessive fluid intake during meals may dilute gastric acid in some individuals. Eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, and maintaining parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest state, are equally critical. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which reduces digestive efficiency and alters microbiome composition. The gut-brain axis is bidirectional. Approximately 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. When the gut health improves, mood often improves alongside it. It is important to understand that gut dysfunction does not develop in a week. It is the result of years of accumulated habits, sleep deprivation, stress, processed foods, irregular eating patterns, antibiotic exposure, and low dietary diversity. Therefore, healing is not instant. Short-term detoxes may provide temporary relief because they reduce digestive load, but sustainable improvement requires 3 to 6 months of consistent lifestyle and dietary correction. Your gut lining is like internal skin, delicate, protective, and constantly regenerating. When you provide it with adequate protein, diverse fibers, healthy fats, micronutrients, proper sleep, and stress management, it responds remarkably well. When you overload it with refined sugar, alcohol, ultra-processed foods, and chronic stress, inflammation follows. Every bite of food is either supporting cellular repair or contributing to inflammatory burden. The choice is cumulative, not immediate. True gut restoration is not about extremes, it's about consistency, biological respect, and intelligent nourishment over time. When the gut improves, energy stabilizes, inflammation decreases, mood becomes more balanced, metabolic health improves, and overall resilience increases. If you begin focusing on your gut today, patiently and scientifically, the results over the next 6 months may be far more powerful than any quick fix program could ever offer.